Check this out. This is definitely one of the biggest benefits to using these AI code gens. This is the ability to build your own CMS. Now, I tried to use Contentful, I think it's called Contentful, and Sanity. And granted, they look like great tools, they've got huge teams behind them, but I just couldn't get it to work. I couldn't make it work. Skill issue, more than likely, but I also found another opportunity, which was just to code my own CMS. So exactly how I wanted it without any limitations, and of course, without the monthly spend, the monthly cost. So this is Content Manager. This is just the basic CMS that I've built. And I'll just go back to the view because that's just useless lines of code. But it's just to show what's possible. And you can do this in Bolt.new, Windsurf, whichever tool that you want. Just be mindful that you are going to need to iterate. There are things like content, it's showing up a container within a container, and a featured image went missing a few times, and I've had to sort that out. And then when you go back here, I've had to go back and forth with it to get it to show the featured image. And I've also told it that I needed the date that the post was created and last edited. So these are iterations that I've made, but I've built this whole back end out, and it's exactly what I need it to be without all the bells and whistles. And if I want the bells and whistles, I can just add them. I can just tell it to add them. So one of the things that I've built into it, one of the things I'm most excited about, is this process links and also format content. So it's done this for me. I've given it the plain text, and I've told it I want it to bold key phrases. I've told it I want 2 sentences max per paragraph. I've told it I want H2s and H3s. All of these things you can do. So I am using Gemini. This is the model I wanted to play with. So Gemini's also just released 2.0, which is what I'm going to upgrade to and test that out. But it's got a huge context window, so this allows me to tell it to analyze my entire post, format it for me, and process internal links. So this is something that you couldn't do with an existing CMS that you attach to your project, but you can build whatever you want. I can build, which I'm going to do next. I've just had the idea. Once I fix this duplicate thing, I can build a image generation within my post. So I can tell it to generate it to analyze the content and add images under H2s or H3s. There's literally no limits to what you can do on the back end or the front end. You just have to be willing to iterate. So I am in Windsurf at the moment. So I'm just going to tell Cascade to reduce the size of the drop zone featured image drop zone. It is huge. I should actually tell it how much I want it to be, but let's just see what it does. There we go. So it does it all right in front of you. But yeah, so that's it. You can just iterate and iterate. So there were some issues with the markdown parsing, and yeah, so I told it, there it is. I told it to, I think it had to install a package, but it's very good like that. You can just screenshot your issue, explain it, and it will fix it. So I guess it's going to work better if you've got like a chunk of text, even without the markdown. If it's just plain text and then you format content, yeah, it does all of this. So I'm going to accept. I hope it doesn't save automatically. Okay, so it done that. So I accepted it, and then it's turned it into HTML. Now, if I hit process links, you can see a link here. I need to tell it to make sure the links it adds, so understand how long tasks. I need to tell it to make sure that when it adds links, okay, there I can see but I want them to be blue so I can see them. So how many links did it add? It does actually tell you. You can have a log. I think I might get like a notification to say what links were added in the actual, right in here somewhere, or at the bottom. But then this is insane because I can also add content rewriting with my prompts or my trained models. It's limitless what you can do. It's definitely time consuming, the constant iteration, but at the end of it you have a very tailored product, like a very, very tailored to your needs, rather than an out of the box solution. And then I can just take these files, and even if I'm not going to build with Vite, if I'm building with Next.js or anything else, I can take the files and use them as a starting point. So I can say, I want this exact same content management system, connect it to Supabase, these are my data tables, all of those things, and it's going to do that for me. So let me just make sure I can fix this save. So we can see the links on the front end. I do want it to bold better key phrases, so it's just randomly bolded planning and focus, and they're not really, those are just keywords. I want actual valuable information. So at the moment I think it's finding these, yeah, it's definitely finding phrases. So I can take this chunk and tell it, I don't want it to do that. I don't want you to just find phrases. I want you to use Gemini, use the AI to analyze the text and choose the best content to bold. So not just, nothing should be, everything can be dynamic. Nothing has to be preset. And that's the best part about integrating AI. So we're not just using AI to build the thing, we're using it within the components and with all the things that we do, which is my favorite part of this. It's what I'm loving exploring the most. Yeah, so these keywords, productivity, planning, focus, yeah, that's not what I was going for. So I'm going to get back in there and tell it exactly what I want it to do. And again, this is just the TypeScript that allows me to process these internal links. So it's where it says import from Supabase. This is where it imports the blog post content. So everything is being stored in Supabase. And then it's using Google Generative AI, which is Gemini. So it pulls from the API. And then all the following instructions. So analyze this article, suggest relevant internal links to other articles, and then we've got the source article, the content of the source article, and the category that it's in. And this is useful if you want to make sure that you're linking only to the content in your cluster. So if you have 10 very, very targeted clusters and you really want to make the most of those clusters and send the link juice within that cluster rather than all over any post on the site, then this is going to be important, because you can tell it within your prompt to only find content within this category, the category of the post. So that way, if you have hundreds of articles on your site and you've got multiple clusters, it's not having to analyze all of your content or all of your meta descriptions and titles to find contextual related topics to link to. Granted, it doesn't look at every individual article. It's not like if I've got 60 articles, it's not using Gemini to analyze, or that's going to end up costing loads just to add internal links. It's analyzing the article that you're editing, obviously, because it needs to add the links within that post, and then it's analyzing the title, category, and meta description. So a lot smaller context for the 60 posts rather than the whole thing. And then it's deciding based on that what you can link to, which makes the most sense. And I didn't actually come up with that. I've explained what I wanted it to do, and it's done that, which is absolutely amazing. My favorite phrase for all of this stuff. And then it says available articles to link to. So again, this is it talking to itself. This is it scraping all the articles I've got, title, ID, join. I'm not sure what that is. Just, I guess that's just how it processes it. So on a new line, this N here, so it separates it from the other article title and ID. And then for each suggested link, it says to provide article ID, create a relevant score, which is awesome. Again, that wasn't my idea. Context where the link should be added, and it's telling it to suggest anchor text. And I've given it permission to manage this content, so it's not going to drastically change it, but where necessary, it's going to modify the text within that sentence just to make sure that contextual link is actually contextual and not just thrown in based on regex or anything like that, which is much better. So regex is awesome, but it's got its limitations. AI, it combined with regex, which is what I've been using to format the post, is a superpower. So that's pretty much it. Gonna definitely be playing around with this, seeing how far I can push this, but as you can see, it's a very simple script. It's 92 lines of code, and I've told it to do this. I've told it the feature I wanted, and it's come up with it. So I can just then iterate on this to perfect it. If you found this video useful, please drop a comment. Let me know what you liked about it, and give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'm definitely going to be making more videos on AI SEO, these code gen tools, which I'm just completely fascinated by, and all the different things I build, not just the outside product where you've got the UI and all of that stuff, but just the different ways, things like this, that we can push it and what we can actually do building out our projects going forwards.